Have you ever felt that the world you grew up trusting has shifted beneath your feet? Technology was supposed to make life easier, banking from home, shopping without leaving the sofa, even video calls with grandchildren. And in many ways, it has. But along with those conveniences came something darker. Scammers who study human behavior as if it were their profession. And make no mistake, it is their profession. They learn how to target older adults because, frankly, seniors are more likely to answer the phone, open the door, or trust the voice that sounds official on the other end. Psychologists who study aging point out something fascinating. As we grow older, our natural tendency toward trust increases. It's not weakness, but rather a reflection of a lifetime spent believing in the goodwill of others. You were raised in a world where a handshake meant something. Sadly, today's criminals twist that very strength, your decency, into an entry point for fraud. Experts also highlight another truth. When seniors feel pressured or alarmed, the body's stress response takes over. Heart beats faster, rational thinking narrows, and the urge to act immediately becomes overwhelming. Scammers know this. That's why nearly every scheme begins with urgency. Call right now, or act immediately, or lose everything. It isn't accidental. It's a script designed to make you bypass your calm, thoughtful side. Consider this. According to consumer protection agencies, reports of scams against seniors have doubled in the past decade across the US, UK, Germany, and Canada. From phony tech pop-ups to false health insurance calls, each scam adapts to whatever seniors value most: security, health, companionship, or financial stability. But here's something important. You are not powerless in this new landscape. Knowledge itself is armor. Just as vaccines protect the body from disease, awareness protects your finances and your peace of mind. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you question instead of comply, you flip the script back on the scammer. So, as we walk together through the specific schemes now spreading fastest among seniors, remember, the goal is not to scare you. It's to remind you that your wisdom, your patience, and your life experience are still your strongest defenses. And by the end of this journey, you'll not only recognize the red flags, you'll know exactly how to guard yourself and help protect those you love. It often begins so simply: a pop-up on your screen, a phone ringing at an odd hour, or a calm voice claiming to represent Microsoft, Apple, or your internet provider. The message is always the same: something is wrong, and only they can fix it. Maybe it's a supposed virus, a compromised bank account, or a warning that your computer is about to shut down forever. The urgency is the bait, and it works because alarm shuts down reflection. Take Harold, a 78-year-old who simply wanted to check the news online. A bright red warning flashed across his laptop. Bank account hacked. Call immediately. A phone number blinked insistently. Wanting to protect what he had worked for all his life, Harold dialed. Within minutes, a polite man with technical jargon had convinced him to download a program. What Harold didn't realize was that he had just handed over remote access to everything: his emails, his passwords, his savings. By the time he noticed money missing, it was far too late. Doctors who study aging warn us of another subtle trap. Older adults often struggle with the fast pace of technology, and scammers exploit that gap. They present themselves as patient, trustworthy helpers. They walk you through the solution, step by step. And ironically, it's the same kindness you expect from real support staff that convinces you to cooperate. Here's the quirky part. Experts still argue whether seniors fall for these schemes because of declining cognition or simply because scammers have become that convincing. Either way, the result is devastating. Some victims lose not just money but confidence, fearful to even open their computer again. The defense? Slow down. Real companies do not call out of the blue about technical problems, and they never demand payment in gift cards or wire transfers. If you see a pop-up demanding action, close it. If you get a call, hang up. Then reach out through official numbers you already know, not the ones a stranger provides. It might feel abrupt, even rude, to hang up. But remember, your safety outweighs politeness. Each time you pause instead of reacting, you reclaim control. And the truth is, scammers depend on that split-second panic. When you refuse to give it, you disarm them completely. The phone rings. The voice on the other end is official, steady, and even a little warm. They claim to be from Medicare, Social Security, or your insurance provider. They sound as if they're reading straight from a government handbook, and sometimes they even quote part of your Medicare number. That's how convincing it feels. And what's the offer? New benefits, free medical equipment, or discounted prescriptions. It sounds like a blessing, but beneath it is the hook. We just need to confirm some personal details. Margaret, an 81-year-old widow, learned this the hard way. A caller told her she qualified for a free diabetes monitor, something she had considered purchasing anyway. All she had to do was give her Medicare number and date of birth. It felt safe, especially since they already knew some of her information. A week later, boxes of unnecessary medical equipment began piling up at her doorstep. When she checked her Medicare account, thousands of dollars in fraudulent claims had been billed under her name. She never saw the scam coming until it was too late. Psychologists say this kind of deception works because it preys on trust and fear. Seniors are conditioned to respect authority, and healthcare is deeply personal. If someone suggests your benefits might be in danger, the instinct to comply can override caution. Experts still argue whether it is fear of losing coverage or simply the desire for affordable healthcare that makes these scams so effective. But either way, the manipulation is cruel. Here is the quirky truth. Medicare will never call you out of the blue demanding personal information. They won't pressure you with threats or rush you with deadlines. If you receive such a call, the safest response is to hang up immediately. If you're unsure, dial the official number on your Medicare card. Nothing else. And here's a comforting reminder. You are not alone if this has happened to you. Countless seniors worldwide have been targeted, and sharing these stories out loud doesn't show weakness. It shows strength. Each time you expose a scam, you weaken its power and protect someone else in your community. You're sitting at home, maybe sipping tea, and an ad flashes across your screen. The product looks perfect, just what you've been wanting. The website feels professional. The price feels almost too good to resist, and the reviews glow like polished glass. So you click Buy. Then you wait, and eventually nothing arrives. Worse, your credit card starts showing mysterious charges that you never approved. This is the reality for many seniors exploring the convenience of online shopping. Take Robert, a 72-year-old retiree who loved gardening. He stumbled across a website offering high-quality gardening tools at half the usual price. He ordered, thinking he had found a bargain. Weeks passed. No package, no customer support, and then fraudulent charges started showing up on his card. The cheap tools ended up being very expensive. And sometimes the trick doesn't even involve shopping. A text or email pings. Your package delivery has failed. Click here to confirm your address. When you're expecting medicine from the pharmacy or a gift from your grandchild, that kind of message tugs at your attention. But the link? It often leads to malware or phishing sites designed to steal your personal data. Doctors of gerontology often note that older adults can feel a unique sense of vulnerability with technology. They may trust what looks polished. Meanwhile, cybersecurity experts still debate whether the real danger is lack of tech literacy or simply the emotional pull of urgency. Either way, the trap is set the same way. Pressure plus expectation equals action. Here's the quirky tidbit. One delivery scam was so bold, it told seniors their ostrich eggs couldn't be shipped unless they paid a fee. Imagine being tricked with livestock that doesn't even fit in a mailbox. But people clicked, and some paid. That's how absurd these scams can get. So, what's the safeguard? Treat online offers like strangers knocking on your door. Would you hand your wallet to a person you don't know just because they look friendly? Of course not. Apply the same rule online. Check, pause, verify. If you're unsure, close the message and go directly to the official website or your known delivery service number. When you slow down and double-check, you're not just protecting your money, you're buying peace of mind. And that's worth far more than any bargain online. Loneliness is a quiet ache, and scammers know it. You log into Facebook or a simple social site just to check on family pictures, and suddenly a message pops up. Someone kind, someone attentive, someone who seems to see you. They ask about your day, remember little details, even share stories that sound like they've lived a life not too far from yours. It feels warm, safe, like connection has finally knocked on your door again. But this is where the most heartbreaking scam begins. Unlike tech support or shopping fraud that happens quickly, romance scams unfold slowly, like a story that lures you in one page at a time. They invest weeks, sometimes months, building what feels like a relationship. Then comes the pivot. I am stuck overseas and can access my bank account. Could you help me just this once? And because you've grown to trust them, because they've made you feel less alone, you might say yes. Take Eleanor, a 74-year-old widow. She joined a site to stay in touch with old friends. Soon, she was contacted by a man who claimed to be a retired military officer. He was attentive, charming, and made her feel like she mattered again. Weeks later, he spun a story about being stranded without access to money. Eleanor wired funds, believing she was helping someone she cared about. By the time she realized it was a scam, thousands were gone, and the emotional wound cut even deeper than the financial loss. Psychologists remind us, human beings never outgrow the need for love and companionship. And experts still argue whether loneliness in later years is more dangerous to physical health than obesity or smoking. But the risk is real. That's why scammers exploit it. They weaponize the very thing that makes us most human. Here is a quirky true tidbit. One scammer actually claimed to be an astronaut stuck on the International Space Station, asking a senior woman to wire him money for a rocket ride back to Earth. As absurd as it sounds, she believed the elaborate story because he'd spent months weaving trust into their conversations. So, the hard truth. If someone professes love too quickly, makes endless excuses to avoid meeting in person, or asks for money just this once, pause. Real love doesn't require wire transfers. Real companionship doesn't come with invoices. Protecting your heart in this season of life means remembering that trust is earned face to face, not through screens filled with sweet words and empty promises. You've probably seen those shiny letters in the mail or heard the cheerful voice on the phone. Congratulations, you've won a prize. The words hit your ears like a spark of excitement. Maybe it's a lottery, a sweepstake, or even a brand new car. All you have to do, they say, is pay a small fee to release your winnings. Sounds tempting, doesn't it? That's exactly why so many fall into the trap. Investment and prize scams are built on two powerful emotions: hope and fear. Hope that you'll finally get that lucky break, and fear that if you hesitate, the opportunity will vanish. Scammers push hard with artificial urgency. Act now or lose everything. It's the oldest trick in the book, but sadly, still one of the most effective. Let's revisit Frank, a 69-year-old grandfather. He loved his occasional scratch-off tickets, so when he received a phone call saying he'd won a foreign lottery, he believed it. The caller even had a badge number and promised official documents. Frank was asked to wire $3,000 for international taxes. He sent it, thinking he was about to surprise his family with good fortune. Of course, the prize never came. The money was gone. The hope, too. Scammers also dress up fake investments: guaranteed stocks, can't-miss land deals, or special bonds. They sound professional, sometimes even citing real companies, but once your money is sent, the opportunity disappears like smoke. Experts still argue whether seniors are more vulnerable because of generational trust in authority or simply because many are searching for safe ways to stretch retirement savings. But the outcome is the same: betrayal. Here is a quirky example. One scammer mailed seniors golden tickets to join a supposed exclusive chocolate company investment. The scheme promised returns sweeter than candy. Hundreds invested. Not a single bar of chocolate or a penny ever materialized. Health fact to remember: stress from financial fraud can raise blood pressure and worsen heart conditions. Doctors warn that victims often experience sleepless nights, headaches, and even panic attacks. Protecting your wallet also protects your body. The truth: real lotteries never ask winners to pay up front, and no legitimate investment comes with guaranteed riches. If someone pressures you to keep it secret or move quickly, step back. A trustworthy deal will always give you time to think, to consult, and to breathe. As you sit back now, let everything we've explored settle in. 5 scams, each dressed differently: tech support, fake Medicare, online shopping tricks, romance schemes, and those too-good-to-be-true prizes, all share the same DNA. They prey on trust, on urgency, on that very human desire for security and connection. And if you felt a twinge of recognition in any of these, know this: it doesn't mean you are weak. It means you are human. Here's the comforting truth: awareness is the armor. Every time you pause before clicking a link, every time you hang up on a suspicious call, every time you talk openly with a friend or family member about something that doesn't feel right, you're reclaiming control. Experts still argue whether community education or tougher laws is the best defense, but most agree that talking about scams removes the shame and replaces it with strength. Think of Harold, Margaret, Robert, Eleanor, and Frank, the real people whose stories we shared. Each of them faced loss, yes, but each story now shines as a lantern for someone else. By learning from them, you carry forward their resilience. That's how wisdom works. It grows stronger when it's shared. A quirky bit of history for you. In the 1920s, there was a traveling salesman scam in the US where con men sold invisible paint, guaranteed to make cars disappear from view at night. People actually bought it. The lesson? Scammers have always thrived on imagination and trust. What changes is only the disguise. So protect your peace of mind. Safeguard your health by lowering stress, because constant worry ages the body just as much as any scammer's trick. Keep your dignity by knowing when to say no. Now take a slow breath. You're not powerless. You're wiser than you were before this journey. And wisdom is something no scammer can steal,